My mother-in-law secretly gave my daughter growth hormones because she thought she was too short. I'm 34 years old, living in New York, USA with my husband and daughter. I'm a marketer at a small agency working on campaigns for local brands. It's creative but intense. Deadlines, clients, coffee at 2 a.m. My job gives me flexibility. I can work from home when needed, and it lets me be with my daughter. My career was on the rise. I just got a promotion and now manage a team of 4 people. My husband, let's call him Alex, 36, is my partner in everything. We met 5 years ago at a conference. He was a speaker talking about business strategies. I was in the audience and we chatted after his talk. Alex is a financial analyst, smart, calm, with a habit of making breakfast on weekends. We got married 3 years ago, settled in our apartment in Brooklyn, full of his economics books and my campaign notes. We argue me over his late office nights, him over my creative chaos, but we'd always make up, sharing pizza and watching shows. We dreamed of a trip to Europe, but our daughter, Sophie, 5 years old, was the center of our world. Sophie is our joy. She was born a bit premature, and because of that, she's shorter than her peers, but the doctors said it's normal, she's healthy, just genetics. I'm short, Alex isn't tall either, so we weren't worried. Sophie is active, loves drawing, playing in the park, and her height was never an issue. Alex and I adore her just as she is. My mother-in-law, Linda, 62, is a retiree living in Queens, and she's always been caring in her own way. She often visited, bringing toys for Sophie, but I noticed how she looked at our daughter, like she was evaluating her. She hinted a few times that Sophie was too small and needs more fresh air. I brushed it off, thinking it was just grandma worries. Alex always defended his mom, saying she just wants the best. My best friend, Kate, 33, a teacher, laughed about it, saying Linda is a typical mother-in-law but harmless. My family is just my brother, Mike, 37, a mechanic, who thinks Linda is weird but not malicious. Life was warm, chaotic, perfect, until Linda shattered everything and I discovered her secret. It all started 6 months ago. Linda started visiting more often, offering to babysit Sophie when Alex and I were at work. I was glad. Sophie loved grandma, they played with toys, baked cookies, but then I noticed changes. Sophie started growing quickly. Over 3 months, she stretched 5 cm, which was unusual for her age. I thought it was a growth spurt, but at her next checkup, the doctor was surprised. She's growing faster than expected. Maybe something in her diet? I asked Linda if she was giving Sophie any vitamins, and she brushed it off. Just fruits and veggies, dear, you're worrying for nothing. But the anxiety lingered. Sophie became fussy, often complaining of headaches, her skin got dry. I thought it was from stress, she just started kindergarten. But one evening, I found a small bottle of pills in her backpack, hidden in a pocket. The label said growth hormones, and the prescription was in Linda's name. My world collapsed. I called Alex, but he was in a meeting. I waited for him and showed him the bottle. He went pale but said, "Mom couldn't have done this. Maybe it's a mistake." I was furious. How could he defend her? We drove to Linda's that night. Linda confessed right away when she saw the bottle. She said she'd been giving Sophie growth hormones for the last 4 months because she's too short for her age and it could hurt her future. She thought she was doing a good deed because in this day and age, height matters for success. She got the prescription from her doctor, saying it was for a granddaughter with growth issues, and gave the pills to Sophie disguised as vitamins. I screamed at her, asking how she could risk my daughter's health without our knowledge. Alex stayed silent, staring at the floor. Linda didn't apologize, just said, "I wanted the best for my granddaughter." We took Sophie and left. Stay tuned for updates because this is just the beginning. Update 1: It's been 2 weeks since my first post, and the situation is getting more shocking. After confronting Linda, we took Sophie to the doctor. Tests showed the hormones had already affected her body. Hormone levels were elevated, and it could have caused the headaches and dry skin. The doctor said if it had continued longer, there could have been serious issues like heart or bone problems. He advised stopping immediately and monitoring her health. I was furious. Linda had risked my daughter's life for her idiotic idea about perfect height. Alex finally talked to me. He apologized, said he was shocked, and promised he wouldn't let Linda near Sophie until she apologizes and admits her mistake. But when I suggested filing a police report for harming a child's health, he hesitated, saying, "She's my mom, she meant well." I was in shock. How could he defend her? We argued, and he slept on the couch. Kate, my friend, came over for support. She said she heard from a mutual acquaintance that Linda did something similar with her own daughter as a child, gave her growth vitamins because she feared she'd be too small. But the worst, Kate recalled Linda hinting a few times that Sophie isn't quite right. and that, in our family, everyone is tall. I hadn't paid attention, thinking it was just chatter. I called Linda to demand explanations. She didn't apologize, but instead accused me of not caring about the child's health, and that hormones are normal, doctors prescribe them. She even said she'd do it again because she wants the best for her granddaughter. I hung up and blocked her number. Alex overheard and said Mom's just older, she doesn't understand. We argued again. I also learned Linda was telling her friends I'm too dramatic and not thanking her for help. One of her friends called me to express support for Linda. I was shocked by their audacity. The doctor scheduled more tests for Sophie, and I'm afraid there might be long-term effects. Stay tuned for updates, because Linda doesn't seem to be stopping. Update 2: a month has passed since my last update, and the situation is getting more tangled. Sophie feels better, the headaches are gone, her skin normalized, but the doctor said we need to monitor her growth and health because the hormones could have affected her development. I found a letter in Alex's things from Linda. It was dated our wedding, and in it, Linda wrote that she's happy for her son, but worried I'm not ready for motherhood. She hinted that if Sophie is short like you, it could hurt her future. This explains why she fixated on Sophie's height. It was her bias, tied to her own complexes. Alex confessed his mom always criticized his height, and he didn't want Sophie to go through the same. I met Linda one last time. Alex insisted to clear things up. She didn't apologize, but instead said hormones are the future, and I'm to blame for not watching the child's diet. She even offered to continue treatment because Sophie is still short. I exploded and said she's dangerous and won't see her granddaughter again. Alex backed me, and we left. Linda yelled after us that we'd regret it. Kate, my friend, said she heard from a mutual acquaintance that Linda is trying to convince the family I'm a bad mother. But most relatives are on our side. My brother Mike even called Linda and told her to stay away. Stay tuned for updates, because Linda seems to be planning something else. Update 3: 3 months have passed since my last update, and the situation has finally calmed down. Sophie has fully recovered. The doctors said the hormones didn't cause long-term damage, but will monitor her growth. I'm grateful for that, but this experience changed me. I've become more vigilant about who gets close to my daughter. Alex and I decided to take a break in our relationship. He admitted he knew about his mom's complexes, but didn't think she'd go this far. He started therapy to deal with family issues, and we agreed he won't see Linda if he wants to keep contact with Sophie. Linda tried contacting us through relatives, but we blocked everyone who supports her. She stopped calling, but I heard she's sick from her son's ingratitude. I filed a police report for harming a child's health, but the case was closed due to lack of direct evidence of intent. The lawyer said it's typical for family conflicts, but we got a restraining order against Linda. She can't see Sophie without our permission. Kate stopped talking to Linda, and we've grown closer. My work is thriving, the festival where I read poetry went great, and I got an offer to publish a book. Sophie started drawing classes, and her drawings are my new treasure. I still feel pain from the betrayal, but I've learned to value what I have. Thanks, Reddit, for listening. You helped me stand strong. I don't know if I'll update again, but you gave me the strength to move forward. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss new stories.